Hello and welcome back to the RotoWire Esports Show. My name is Ethan Sexton, and joining me again today is DFS Chan. Chan, how's it going today, man?
Good. How are you?
Doing well. Survived this morning. Talk a little bit about today's slate before we jump into Tuesdays and discuss things for tomorrow. But a decent opening day here for the LPL. I enjoyed watching, of course, again. That was probably the best part.
Right.
I think, FPX, let's start there because that's the easier of the two, of course, like we talked about yesterday. FPX, awful for DFS, but great for them. I mean, they one-sided stomp, including a 17-minute win in game one, but 22 kills, not really getting it done for DFS purposes, even with the games not played bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think how they were going to come out and do, because obviously they lost in the finals last split. And so usually I try to target teams that come from MSI or other tournaments like that, because obviously that can be very arduous, on the team and the players. But FPX was so close, I wasn't sure like how they were going to approach the game. But obviously it looks like they want to play a macro game, a very good macro game, just like, some LTK teams that they've been talking about in their tweets. So I think that's probably how they're going to approach it. And then obviously Rogue Warriors on the other side, looks like they wanted to play slow too. For some reason, they were avoiding some team fights in the first game, especially. And it's just a lot of layers to analyze there for both teams.
Yeah, I think part of the problem, and I didn't think about this yesterday when we were talking, but sometimes Andrew and I would talk about a really good team versus a really bad team, and the really good team really not having to do that much to win the series, and that's certainly what happened with FPX today. I mean, 22 kills in 2 games is awful for the LPL, right? So, but, it is what it is. And then, the first series of the day, Suning and IG, we were saying yesterday we thought it was a pretty tight, close series, and that's how it ended up being for the most part. Game 3 was a little bit game 2 and game 3 were kind of one-sided for IG, especially that game 2. But that series really not a lot of kills either, right? 3 games, and I think IG ended up with 39. As the winning team. So is the LPL going to be slow and steady this year? We're used to the chaotic nature of the league, but we'll have to see once we get more data. But yeah, I think that was a close one. Like we said, could have played either side. The only reason I went with IG is because I wanted 4 FPX, and that ended up not being the winning way to go. That was a min cash way to go today, which is okay with me. It's better than nothing, right? IG 4-man stack was what took down the contest I was in. So that series was a close one overall between 2 pretty evenly matched teams, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I thought when that first series ended, I thought FPX long stack would have been perfectly fine. But anyway, so yeah, IG was interesting. I think I posted in this RotoWire Discord channel for esports, but you called it 2-1. It was a very close match, close series. First one, Suning won, but the last 2, I don't know. I just had a lot of issues how Suning drafted before the game. I think the last game, game 3, they picked Viego jungle, and I think it felt like to me that they didn't want that to go wasted, because obviously Viego is very OP, and it's powerful champion right now. So. Yep. But SOM, I've never seen him on Viego before. And I don't think that fits his play style, because I think he meshes well with like Angel mid lane, more of a CC, chain heavy champions. But it is what it is. And also Suning, game 2. Last point I'll make about Suning is game 2. They were just avoiding constantly any team fights they could have participated in. Around objectives. I think they gave up 4 dragons in a row. So I'm just a little skeptical about Suning's early split again, just like last split, a potential. And IG looked very, very good with Nenny at top. I mean, I think they're a new team, and they look much better this year, this split so far. So
yeah, I think a point that you made this morning in the chat, like you said, and that I agree with is, and I think you talked about this a little bit yesterday as well when we were kind of breaking down what we might get from Nenny. But if they can play this more team-oriented style instead of the only way we're going to win is if the Shy and Rookie just absolutely smash their lanes, I think it might benefit IG in the long run. We'll have to see. They got a new coach too, No Fay. Mm-hmm. So, we'll see how all those things progress moving forward for IG. But if they keep looking kind of a bit more steady and they don't have to really cater to the tendencies of the Shy, especially, I wonder if he's going to find it difficult to even get back into the team as we move forward. So we'll have to see how that goes, once his visa issues are up and depending on how IG are playing. But it could be a benefit because as we saw last split and, the Shy just really wasn't looking like his dominant self. Sometimes he was, but other times he was feeding and looking awful. So I wonder if it ends up in the long run, if Nenny can prove like just a solid foundational piece, doesn't have to do like a ton of stuff, but is just good enough to help, more in a team setting than in a more individualistic IG look, if that'll benefit them in the long run. So we'll see about.
I agree.
Yeah, we'll see about that. But let's move into tomorrow's slate. Take a look at the lineups here. So, in terms of DraftKings pricing, we've got the first series is OMG versus Rare Atom. And in terms of DraftKings pricing, Rare Atom are the biggest favorites on the slate, making OMG the biggest underdogs on the slate, of course. And then in game 2, we've got Edward Gaming and BLG, with Edward Gaming being priced as the favorites. You shared something in the chat, some odds actually from a book. Not sure where you got them from exactly, but that's okay. That doesn't matter. But according to the odds that you found, EDG are actually the biggest favorites at minus 750, I believe it was, with Rare Atom being minus 650. So a little bit of discrepancy there in the from the book odds to the DraftKings pricing. So does that make you want to go for EDG at a little bit of a discount tomorrow, or where are you looking to start your lineups?
Yeah, so I got the odds from Bovada. That's my go-to odds. So if I post any odds, that's where it's going to be from.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. I mean, Edward Gaming players have a discount because I think like you said, Rare Atom players have they're the most expensive. But just looking at the numbers, kills per minute metric that I usually look at as to, which one to make a long stack versus short stack, I actually think the OMG Rare Atom game will be will produce more kills, in my opinion. So that's probably where I'm going to go right now. Where I'm leaning at is the Rare Atom long stack and then EDG short stack. And I think both teams will win. So.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. On that. In the past, we've seen BLG kind of be a slower team, right? Which win or lose, it doesn't always tend to lead to great scores for DFS. So I think like on paper, to me, even though the book odds have EDG favored, I think I kind of agree more with the DraftKings pricing because I think Rare Atom. While they're not as good of a team as EDG, I think the matchup is much, much better for them. Something I should have said before we jumped right in is OMG, we're one of the worst teams last split. They've got a couple new additions, so I think it's going to be cream or creme. Well, I have to hear it before I know how to say it. I'm going to call him Cream for now. He joins from their academy team. He's going to take over for Wooming in the mid lane, at least for the start tomorrow. And then Abel is coming in from BLG's academy. But, of course, Abel used to play in the LPL for RNG. I think he was last in the LPL in 2018. So he's a new name from the last couple of years, but he does have some LPL experience. I don't really think it's enough to tip the scales for OMG tomorrow. And this still looks like a pretty bad roster overall coming into the year. Rare Atom are going to come into the split with the same 5-man that they ended with last year. And I like this lineup, but don't love this lineup is how I'd put it. Like, I think they're a perfectly fine, back end of the playoffs type team, right? Like, they're probably not going to fight for like a top 5 spot, but they can be in that 8 to 10 range or somewhere in there. They got guys like iBoy, who's coin flippy at times, but I think it's a really good matchup for them tomorrow. So not too worried about Rare Atom. And then BLG also have some new additions I should have mentioned. So they bring in Weiwei and PP God from V5. And I do think these are good upgrades for the team. PP God's a really aggressive support playmaker. So we'll have to see how he plays with aiming, because I like aiming, but I think he's kind of ho-hum, like slow and steady at times. And then Weiwei, it's hard to say whether he's going to be better than Meteor. I think Meteor is a pretty good jungler, honestly, and a pretty good player, but Weiwei was pretty good for V5. In the past, the spring split, the team was pretty poor, so that kind of skews things. But do you like those additions for BLG? I think they're good additions, just not sure. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Not sure how they're going to really stack up against EDG tomorrow.
Yeah, I love those additions. I actually have BLG up in top 6 for the LPL power rankings, in my opinion. So PP God and Weiwei, like you said, both come from V5. They played together last year, so I think there will be some continuity between them and good synergy between them. And I've seen some tweets about Aiming and PP God playing duo queue together, and I saw that apparently they've been really, really good. So nice. I think they definitely have a chance against EDG, and that's kind of like what I said yesterday about Invictus Gaming. So yeah, I mean, I'd say BLG definitely has a shot, and that's definitely worthy of GPP considerations. And on the other side, in the other matchup, like you said, OMG. One point I'll make about OMG is last year when they did win in those rare circumstances, Aki, their jungler, and then I think it was their bottom lane, Eric and Cold. They carried that team. So it looks like Abel is starting tomorrow, and I don't really know, like you said, about Abel, whether that is a huge upgrade over Eric. Eric and Cold, I thought, were honestly pretty good. So for like individual, laning phase. So I'm just scratching OMG off of my player pool, and then just using those other 3 teams, Rare Atom, Edward Gaming, and BBLG as my GPP pool. So.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I feel the same way. Like, get OMG right out of here, man. I'm not considering them at all. The one thing I want to make a case for BLG. So I think that when people look at this slate, I think a lot of people will just rush to go Rare Atom, EDG, any combination they can. And I think that that's going to be by far the most chalky combination. Whereas like today we had IG and Suning where you could comfortably go to either team, I think, right? I think on this slate, people won't really think that BLG are a team that they can comfortably go to. And while I don't know if it's going to be a comfortable thing, I think BLG are solid enough that they could upset EDG, and I'll definitely have a BLG lineup for sure. The thing that kind of makes me think this way, that I sort of like BLG, I think in my head, I think EDG will win, right? They're better on paper. They one of the best teams in the spring. So they should win. But the kind of reason I like BLG is that I think they have a solid foundation of Aiming, Zika, and Bew. None of them are like otherworldly standout stud players, but they're all solid. None of them are bad, right? And then they made these 2 big additions. And one thing I wanted to say about both Weiwei and PP God, so V5 finished 12th in the spring, which was not very good, right? In summer 2020, however, V5 finished 5th, right? Pretty impressive, pretty good. So I wanted to bring this up. So JJ, EDG's jungler in summer 2020, was the highest KDA jungler in the summer. Do you know who was behind him? I'm giving you some context clues, so I bet you can guess.
Was it Weiwei?
It was Weiwei. Yeah, Weiwei had the second highest KDA amongst junglers in summer 2020 when V5 finished 2nd. And he finished 5th in kills and 7th in assists in the role. And then PP God finished 2nd in KDA among supports that split as well, and 4th in assists. So what I'm trying to speculate here is that on on a team that is better, I think these guys can be really good players, and BLG could potentially cause some upsets. So that's my short pitch for BLG tomorrow. I think if you're only building one lineup, it's Rare Atom EDG. But I think I would make a couple BLG Rare Atom lineups, just because I do think BLG have a decent shot at an upset. Although at the end of the day, I do think EDG will probably win.
Yeah, and then I guess one other thing about stacking them and Rare Atom, for some reason last split, the individuals didn't carry very good kill participation percentages respectively. I think they did produce enough kills as a team, but for some reason individual players did not have enough kill participation percentages compared to other top teams that were around that same rank standings. So that's one thing to consider if you are trying to decide if you want a long stack Rare Atom versus, and the winner of the BLG, the BLG game. So I don't know. I mean, last point I'll make, Viper, obviously he was the MVP last split. He was amazing. But aiming is no joke. I mean, aiming and Viper, both Koreans, both used to play in the LCK.
Yep.
I think they have faced against each other many times, so I think aiming knows Viper's tendencies. And even last split, I mean, when they played against each other, I mean, I didn't think aiming, wasn't any, inferior to Viper there in the laning phase at least. So I like BLG's chances, just like IG's chances from today's slate. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, I agree. I just think a lot of times we don't think of aiming as like a superstar or carry guy like some of the crazy players in the league, but he's not a pushover either. So, and I think with a more aggressive support like a guy like PP God who likes to make plays, maybe that can unleash and level up aiming's play and BLG along with him. So, hey, who knows? It could definitely happen. We'll see what happens. So, Chan, anything else you wanted to bring up before we sign off for the day?
No, I think that's it. As you guys get ready to play these 2-game slates, LCK is starting pretty soon. So we're soon going to have 4-game slates. So, stay tuned. And, we're going to be updating a lot of stuff in the Discord channel too. So feel free to join me and Ethan there. And yeah, thanks for watching. So.
Yeah, and to Chan's point, if you want to get involved and jump into the Discord, first you need to become a subscriber, but you can do a 10-day free trial, rotowire.com/pod, P-O-D. You can get yourself a free 10-day trial, no credit card required, which is nice because you don't have to worry about remembering to go in and cancel. So that's a good thing. And if you do become a subscriber or do the 10-day free trial, you can go to rotowire.com/chat. And there's instructions on how to join the Discord channel that Chan has mentioned a few times. So, we have a decent group in there. We like to discuss and follow along with the games. And, we, like Chan said, we're posting stuff in there as the day progresses, if things come up or ideas come up, etc. So, check out those 2 links and check out the site. And, there's tons of good stuff, multiple sports, including esports and League of Legends. We've got other esports content as well for Call of Duty, CSGO, and we just started some Valorant content. So all the stuff that DK covers, we're going to have some coverage of it on the site. So feel free to check that out. Chan, have a good day, man. Have a good night. We'll catch you tomorrow. Hopefully we'll make some money, and then we'll talk tomorrow on our first 4-game slate of the year. So looking forward to that.
Yeah, sounds good. Thanks, Ethan.
All right, man. See ya.